To trickle. Hi, everyone. A warm welcome. Thanks for being here. We are going to give everyone just another minute to trickle in, but excited to share with you this awesome presentation. Hopefully, everyone's having a good start to the week. If you want to throw in the chat where you're tuning in from, would love to hear as well. I guess it's a little obvious where Jonathan and Anna are located.
Although there is a Dallas College, I think it's in like some country. I don't remember which country in Africa. There's a Dallas College. We had to like mess with trying to get our Twitter handles and stuff from.
Oh, wow. Some competition.
hmm
Awesome. I'm also just going to launch this poll really quick and see how many campuses everyone has. I know that this presentation is largely focused on unifying seven distinct campuses. So I'm wondering how many folks are dealing with more than one campus and kind of experiencing the same predicament that Dallas College might have been in.
Hey, we got some Texas friends in here. All right.
And some PA friends, although it's on the other side, I believe. I'll just leave that up. And I think we can kind of kick it off here. But again, just a warm welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for being here, whether it is your lunch break or your early morning kind of start to the day. Really excited to have you here and share all the amazing things that Dallas College has done to unify their seven campuses. So just a quick introduction to who I am here on behalf of. So Concept 3D was founded in 2006, which means that we have almost 2 decades of experience serving higher ed. Our platform really caters to the entire student life cycle, starting with sparking interest amongst prospective students to engaging inquiries in the pipeline and enhancing student retention kind of all the way through graduation. Our main purpose and mission is really to offer accessible and digital first solutions. We embrace a digital first and an inclusive approach to marketing and recruitment as well, and are really happy to share that over 4 million students are on our platform every single year. We currently work with over 700 campuses, so maybe some of which are here today, and then of course including Dallas College, who we are co-presenting with. We're really excited to have you here and to share a little bit more about kind of what we do.
All right, Julianna, thanks for having us today. Ann and I are thrilled to talk a little bit more about our experience and what we've learned through this process about unifying maps and unifying your online digital presence in a lot of ways. So Dallas College is one of the largest community colleges in Texas. Depending on who you talk to, we might be the largest in the state, or I mean in the country. So just depending on which report you're looking at. But since 1965, we've been around for 60 years. We've helped over 3 million students on their educational journey. Our mission really is to transform the community through education. And so that's what when we go out looking for a product, when we go out looking for a service or trying to put a solution in place, we're looking for something that can really help transform our students and make things better for them and for their lives. So you can see the stats on the side. We've got over 300 academic degrees, over 100,000 credit and continuing students, and more than 3,200 faculty. So we're a really big institution, and we've been really happy to see how Concept 3D can scale with us and grow with us as we continue to grow and move towards even larger student populations in the future. So I'm Jonathan Blundell. I'm the Senior Director of Digital Experience for Dallas. We work primarily on the front-facing website. We handle a lot of our digital platforms that are front-facing. Also do a little bit on the back end with SharePoint, kind of help with some of the directory. That's a new word. We help with directing some of the content and logistics on that. And then also our Concept 3D map, we also do forms and so forth. And so Anna here is on my team as well. So Anna, if you would introduce yourself.
Yes, Anna Molina. I'm a digital experience designer. So mostly I do some of the stuff that Jonathan just mentioned, just web platforms, forms, and Concept 3D. I do a lot of actually, I do all of the map updates and anything that needs to be done regarding any of the, yeah, updates and edits for the map. So that's me.
Awesome. And I'll jump in here. So my name is Julianna Goldring, and I am the Director of Marketing here at Concept 3D. I have been here for about a year and a half, a little bit more, and primarily focused on just uplifting the amazing stories from our partners and all the amazing work that they do. My fun fact is that when I was living in Buenos Aires, Argentina, after graduating from the University of Pittsburgh, I was on an episode of House Hunters International. So feel free to ask me about that later. And just an agenda so everyone knows where we're going today. So we're going to pass it back over to Jonathan and Anna to set the stage, talk about the challenges that they were experiencing from disjointed data sources, outdated kind of PDF mapping system. They're going to walk us through the strategy that brought them to finding another solution and the impact that that said strategy has had on their student communities. They have done some really amazing things to cater to their specific student population and making sure that their map is serving just that specific audience and kind of uplifting those vital resources for their communities. They're going to share some lessons learned and forward thinkings to help all of you kind of bring all of these amazing insights back to your campuses, and then we will save some time for questions. So throughout the presentation, feel free to use the Q&A feature or just throw it in the chat, and I will just make sure we kind of save all of those for the end. Awesome.
All right, so our timeline is not a short timeline. As most things at Dallas College go, we tend to draw things out a little bit and take some time to evaluate and so forth, which is fine. I mean, I think that's a key in a lot of instances. Don't rush into a decision. And so we've definitely not rushed into this decision, as you can see by this timeline. So we really started our work on this project back in 2016, 2017. So we started doing discovery, looking at how we can improve our maps. Early on, the discussion was really about how can we provide a better accessible map to our students with disabilities? How can we make sure that we're giving them information about where different ramps are on campus, where stairs are that they need to avoid, where elevators are, where accessible bathrooms are, and so forth. So it started kind of from that conversation of how can we make this more accessible? Because right now we're putting, or at the time, we're putting maps on the website that were PDFs, JPEGs, et cetera, that had that information. But obviously, if you're a non-sighted user, that starts becoming a problem. So we wanted to start looking at some different tools, started looking around, seeing demos and so forth, started getting more stakeholder buy-in in 2017. We had marketing, the accessibility team, IT, campus police, and others brought into the process. And then funding dried up. So we had some agreements on funding. Funding ended up getting diverted to a different initiative. And so we were kind of stuck with, well, we're not able to move forward on this. Fast forward to COVID in 2020 and 2021, we started returning to campus. And of course, COVID and our reorg, we previously were 7 institutions, 7 different colleges, individually accredited, becoming one college right in the middle of COVID. I don't recommend you take that process. Don't plan a pandemic right around your reorg. But that kind of work and everything that was happening with that really kind of energized the need, and we recognized the need and the urgency to get a quality map up online. So we started having those conversations. In 2021, we brought in Concept 3D under contract. We were actually able to utilize our HERF funding because this was something where we were able to say, here's where our, sorry, I just got a notice that we might have an emergency notice. I'm hopefully not. We got our HERF funding that came in, and that really helped us because we were able to start showing here's where you can go to get vaccines on campus, here's where different safety areas are, and so forth. And so that was a really big boost for us. 2023, we launched, and we launched with our maps. And then shortly, a few months later, we launched with our 360 tours. So as you can see, a long process, but I think a very rewarding process, and it's given us a very great product in the end. So where we started from, we definitely had 7 distinct campuses, 7 distinct maps, multiple ways of displaying those maps. They were at when we first started this, they were all on different web platforms. So we had a couple people working off of a WordPress platform, a Drupal platform, SharePoint platform. There are a lot of different ways that people would communicate this information. And so we need to figure out, how can we unify this? How can we make it succinct so that a student going to our North Dallas campus or Brookhaven campus, or someone going to our East Dallas campus in Eastfield, they would experience the same thing? Because we had a lot of mixture of students where roughly 20 to 25% of our students weren't just attending their local neighborhood campus, they were going to another campus in the county. So they might be attending their morning classes by their house, but then in the afternoon, after they get off work, they might be attending a class on the other side of the county. So we want to make sure that this was a seamless experience for our students. Definitely that was not the case when we started this. You can also see that we had examples of PDF maps that showed tornado shelters, uh, fire alarms, fire extinguishers, and so forth. These were not necessarily consistent. These were not necessarily maintained regularly. One of the things that we discovered early on was that some of these maps that were in these PDFs were actually squeezed and squished or stretched to fit the PDF page. So what might look like a really long, wide room was actually a kind of a short, narrow room, or a hallway might look really, really wide on it, but no, it was really narrow. So we had a lot of things that were not consistent across the board, and this became a huge issue for our students. So Anna, why don't you talk a little bit about kind of how we move forward from this sticking point and this challenge that we had? Yep, I think you're on mute.
Sorry about that. So yeah, so there was like a 5-step process. So first of all, we had to gather all the data that Jonathan just talked about from facilities and the GIS program, emergency management, which is where he just mentioned where all the tornado safe areas were and all the accessible entrance and exits, satellite imagery, including Google. So we gathered all that data, and we, not only that, but we also had to find the missing data. Turns out that a lot of the updates that had been done to a lot of the campuses were not on current things. So we had to go and look for those. It turns out that a lot of departments add and take away walls and don't tell anybody, and don't document it. So we had to go and walk all walk all the campuses and make sure everything is where it said it was. A lot of times it wasn't. So we just had to make markups for all that. So that was a really long process, but we divided it up in our team and got it done. So it was fun. I actually got to learn about all the campuses that I had no idea about. Step 2 was making everything cohesive from our website, so it would be seamless from somebody going from our website to the campus maps, to establish, trust. If they trust us, if they trust our brand, then we wanted to translate that to the website or the maps, including fonts, colors, and any styling that we used. So that was in conjunction with creative services. We got a lot of work from them. We did a lot of collaboration with them, including, yeah, like the fonts and the colors and any icons that we needed. So that was very helpful. And I think it does look very similar to the website. So we use the same, well, everything. And then after that, step 3 was, yeah, doing all the elevators and the parking and the entrances and the accessible exits and entrances. And like everything is pointed out when you click on one of the categories. It's very easy to find where you can go in and out and where to park if you have any accessible needs. Even just recently, we included specifically parking for student parents, so that's helpful. And when things change, sometimes they do add parking or they take away parking. We also update that as soon as we get that information. So, and that came from emergency management. So, and those were the maps that he was talking about that were stretched. But this makes it nice and perfect. So, and then after that, yeah, it's just publishing and sharing and letting people know that it was out there. How does it work? What information can they find? Where can they find it? And we're still ongoing, teaching and writing the guides and how to's. So yeah, so we just made a form for changes. They submit changes. I make them as soon as I get them, and I'm pretty sure I get like a map update every day. Very often, it's a lot of small things that matter to students, I feel. So I'm very happy that the partners have gotten to know that it's there and that they like seeing their information on the map because that helps students too. And then one of the final steps is, yeah, continuous improvement, always getting updates from everybody, from partners, from even from students that, talk to the partners, and even just very customized things like I said earlier about the student parent. We put in bathrooms that specifically had diaper changing tables and lactation rooms and lactation pods. And that's one of the things that I love about this, that it's so customizable. And the partners love this. So yeah, and we apply it to also events and anything like sustainability is another one that we often update for events. So yeah, that's step 5 is ongoing and forever. And then
Yeah, we didn't realize, Juliana, when we set up with this that we would just be maintaining it all the time, but it's great because it's so easy to do.
mhm.
In fact, we had a request just recently about updating some information, and people were looking for the AI files and all the different pieces, the InDesign pieces. Like, we just pull that straight from the map. Like, that's all built into the map. We just give you the print layout and you're good to go. So that's what makes this super easy for us. Some of the things that we've done also to kind of show some of the impact is we've definitely seen some lead generation with our Salesforce integration. So throughout the system and throughout the platform, you'll have forms asking if people want more information. So RFI forms built into the platform where they can submit and actually start an email campaign or start a drip campaign, have a college coach reach out to them. We're capturing that data through this RFI submissions. We also have advanced features like Anna kind of touched on, pop-up event maps. So we don't necessarily show you where new student orientation is every single day of the year, but when we know that new student orientation is scheduled, as you can see there in the example, we can have that scheduled in advance and say, hey, new student orientation is here, and then we link to that in the emails. We point that out in the email so that people can quickly find it, but they don't necessarily see that all day long. So we can set those up. You can see an example on the bottom there. That's not even one of our campuses. That's where we have our annual employee conference day. So we're able to build out on the map essentially polygons to say, here's where you can park for conference day, here's where you enter, here's these different things. So it's not even part of one of our campuses, but because it's nearby, we can set these types of things up. We do the same thing for graduation. We hold it off-site at a local convention center. And so when that's happening, we basically do the same thing with these polygons. So that's been a really big win for us, that we don't necessarily have to go out and create a whole new map or a whole new mapping experience. We can tap into the tools that we already have available to us. And just a quote, this is actually one of our marketing partners, one of the ones that worked on those lactation pods and the different parenting parking and so forth. Their feedback and after talking with their partners was, this innovative work will increase awareness of student-parent resources on campus while also continuing to promote student-parent success, especially for the majority of our student parents who are single moms. And like I said, we want to be in the business of transforming our community through education. This technology gives us the opportunity to do that, that we can show, hey, we offer these services. You don't have to be scared, that we have a place where you belong, because, here's parking for you. If you're worried about getting in and out of class with your kid, here's where you park. If you're worried about food pantry or food needs, here's your food pantry, here's your food closet. Here are all the different resources that we offer across our campus, and our current students can find them as well as any future students. So they can see this is a welcoming place for them. This is not somewhere where they're just going to walk in, get lost, not have any resources to help them, but we have a whole wide list of resources that are available to any of our students. And so these maps help us to communicate that in a very visual, impactful way.
Yeah, I love this so much. And then Jonathan, keep me honest, but I believe that between 15 and 20% of your student population identify as being single parents. Is that
Yeah,
accurate?
yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. Every school has a specific kind of population, your demographics better than anyone. So just making sure that those specific and catered resources are available to those that need it. It's awesome. All right. So, also just wanted to make sure that everyone knew, we do track a lot of metrics as well, and we can provide behind the scenes snapshot of some of the things that just attribute to all the hard work that Dallas College has done with their map. So the metrics on the screen represent a year-over-year timeline. So for the past 12 months, they've seen a 79% increase in total users on their map. Also, something fun I wanted to call out is that the second top destination for folks who are visiting the map is actually the admissions page. So, just another testament to the fact that while your campus map isn't necessarily the most obvious digital tool for recruitment or for those prospective students who are trying to find out if they belong on your campus, if they'll fit in, it really does serve as a digital front door to your institution and can steer folks in the direction of admissions, and if people are planning to schedule a visit or kind of just playing around with the idea of actually getting on your campus.
Mhm. Yeah,
So
Juliana, I
go
just a
ahead.
note on that too. So I don't have the comparison numbers, but one of the things that I've seen recently is the Google Maps continues to be a pretty big traffic source for us, which is great because people are looking for maps. Excuse me. People are looking for maps, and I love that now we have the control of that, where they can find a map, see what information we actually want to put out there, and not what I ran into a couple weeks ago, where some business had basically dropped a pin right in the middle of our campus on Apple Maps, and that's what was pulling up when people were searching for us. We have the control now where people can find the map and they can see what information that we actually want to present, not what a third party company wants to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think it's really insightful to know what searches are being conducted and what categories on the map are people are engaging with. So searches were up 162% year over year. And what we can observe is that students are searching for these really specific locations. So the top searches were the library, the gym, and the bookstore. This gives us the opportunity, or the Dallas College team, the opportunity to make sure that that information is really ready to go. It's polished. It has search engine optimization, and that those categories are also just, doing the best that they can, since you know that that's what people are searching for. The categories engaged with are up 54,000, or at 54,600, which is up a crazy amount. The average duration on the map is 4 minutes and 15 seconds compared to our 2 minute and 3 second benchmark. So people are spending longer on the map. They're engaging with different categories. They're really using it as a storytelling tool to get a sense of what campus life is like.
All right, Anna, you want to talk about some lessons we've learned?
So many. So a lot of them is that yeah, so it does work. People do look for things that, well, they're looking for, and through, custom the icons and the fonts and everything looks unified from what I was talking about earlier, to make everything a one student journey, and get offering everything, so showing the student services that we offer. That's probably like our biggest category. And so if everything is listed there, it's easy to get to. It's easy to see that it is part of the Dallas College branding. So it makes everything simple, one path. And we do have different ways of showing it. Like we have kiosks on campus. We weren't able to get a photo of that, but we do throughout the campuses. We have like the kiosk to show exactly, and it's like the same program where people can click on the categories and you can find your way there. We share them through emails. We link them throughout the website, and also vice versa. We link all the pages and any student services from the map to the website, and then print pieces, which we actually get directly from the Concept 3D program through their print system. And so it's very customizable. Like you can add and subtract any labels or add, different things. Zooming, it's very robust. So I really like that one. And it's helped across, like even it helps the police with big posters, wayfinding. So I think it's very great in getting across that everything is where you can find it.
I've also seen schools actually print out QR codes that link to their map like on a sticker and stick them to the front of buildings and windows. I'm not sure if you guys have done that already.
We
But that
do. Yeah, we
yeah,
do that with flyers. That's actually a really good point. We do that. Yes, we do that. And it's actually requested a lot because we also do QR codes for our forms, and so they also want QR codes for like the short links and anything that goes to the maps with big events. So that's also a big request.
awesome.
Okay, more lessons learned. So we also use the 360 tours as a recruiting tool by adding get more information to any of the programs that we've shown that we've talked about in the 360 tours, like the nursing, mechanics. We throw in all the get information map, get information tools. We also lead generation through UTMs linking from the map to the website, and then event engagement again from how Jonathan just talked about through new student orientation and any sustainability, any events that come through. And we've had some big events and we will have big events. And usually we also link that to the website for more information and registration, anything like that. So it's a very big tool that that comes really in handy. And we see that, like we see all the stats coming through. So it's encouraging. Let's see. Oh yeah, and the accessible, it is a big, accessibility is very big for Dallas College. Like I said, the expecting mom parking and the food pantries where all those are located. We also highlight specifically an accessible category where you can find all the paths, and there's actually where you can um, start your locate, like set your location and where you're going, and it'll show you where to go. And setting all those paths was a long process, but it was worth it. To be able to show directly how to get there, navigating the campus. If you're not sure, can I walk through there? Yes, you can, or no, you cannot. So it's very helpful. Also shows the accessible entrances and exits, and anything that can be like the even the Dart bus information is on there. So big.
It's super empowering, to give that information to folks that experience a mobility disability and might feel uncomfortable planning a visit to campus without that information.
Right, right, exactly. Like you already know before you even get there. So. Mhm. Next, okay, so forward thinking. So like I said, we always get everyday map requests. So it's almost like an organic thing that kind of lives and breathes on its own through changes, and it's ever changing and evolving through through requests. And partners love this. Like they love seeing their information. They love helping students, and and it shows because they get excited and they're very we get information thoroughly. So at first it was we didn't know what to ask for, and they didn't know what to give us. But as time goes, like you figure out, and they figure out what exactly we need to help them. So it's an ongoing process, and we're still learning how to ask for things, and they're still learning also how to tell us. But it's getting better, and I just know that the more information that is on there, I feel like the more students can benefit from all that. So.
Yeah, and I'll just maybe give an example of what Anna was talking about as far as knowing how to ask the partners for correct information and them knowing how to give it back to us. Especially when we had a lot of those parent resources that came in, they would say, just put it in front of room whatever. And I'm like, well, there's a giant lobby there. Like, where in this lobby does this thing work? Or they would say, here are the parking for expectant mothers. And they would just put a random X across the parking lot. I'm like, but which spot is it? Which, like, we need to know specifically so that, as you can see, we have those yellow boxes highlighting certain parking spots. We needed to communicate and we needed to get better at how do we ask for that information. So please help us by actually drawing the line around what you're needing. Or as you can see, the construction, we've bumped into this a couple of times. They're like, well, move this line to the left. I'm like, okay, how far to the left? What what exactly are you needing? So that's just something, and it's been good for us, I think, as a team to just build those relationships with our partners and learning how to ask better questions of them and help get the information that they need on the map.
Right. Just recently, actually this week, they were saying that a lactation pod was not in the right, I guess, corner. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I can't know unless I drive over there. But so partners love stepping up, and they actually sent photos like of different angles of where the pod was. So that really helps. I think when you ask, they usually are very accommodating to the questions that you ask because it helps them as much as it helps us. So So what's coming next? So browsing through other Concept 3D maps from other organizations, universities and colleges, it's very inspiring because I say like, oh, I really want that on our map. I really want that on our map. So a lot of them, vending machines, help desks, I think is a really big one. Integrating 360 tours directly into the map. The map, what are they called? Guide. We also have a walking guide that is also integrated with the map. And then the water bottle filling stations is big. I think sustainability is big with Dallas College as well. The bus routes that go directly. We have the bus stops for DART, but we don't have any of the routes. And then also integrated signage on campuses as far as wayfinding, parking, anything, especially with events. Where can I go to find this event? So we do that currently with events, but I think more permanently would be also great. So yeah, that's what's coming next. Probably a lot more things.
Yeah, and with that integrated mapping as well, this was a request. We've been having these conversations with our creative services team. They're working on the physical wayfinding around campus. And so when we talk about this whole idea of unifying the mapping experience, so when we have an icon for an accessible route, well, then they want to use that exact same icon on the physical signage. So, or when we're saying this is an accessible entrance, or this is a fire extinguisher, or this is student life, or point of interest, all those different icons that Anna and several others worked on to develop, we want to use that same iconography across our entire campus so that people see it both in the physical realm as well as in the digital realm, and they know automatically, okay, this is this type of service, or this is where I'm going to get this type of help. So that's a big part of what we're moving forward to, both in the digital and in the physical space, combining those two. The other thing that we've just launched we just launched our new web platform last month in September. And one of the things that we're really excited about is the ability to better integrate Concept 3D maps within the system. So you can see a couple examples here where it's just tied in with our calendar, and using the static map feature, we now have it set up where our calendar editors can simply go to Concept 3D. They can click on a pinpoint that they want, click that share button, take that one little short URL, drop it into our platform. And as you can see, there's a couple examples here where we put the map directly on the calendar event itself. Then when you click on that, it basically reopens the map to the exact same view that that editor had. So we're doing that more and more. We're starting to see some people see some real interest in that of it's not just, Mountain View Courtyard, but here's an actual map of Mountain View Courtyard so we can see some WWE lucha style wrestling at one of our upcoming events. So we want to be sure that our students can find those events quickly and easily. This is very helpful to us. We're also doing it on a department level because we now have a bigger database of all our departments where when we list something like financial aid, right in the link or right in the information about the financial aid office at the Brookhaven campus, we have a link that says, click here to see the map, and people can click right into it. They can see where it is on campus. They can get the walking directions and so forth. So that integration is going to be big for us as we move forward in how people are using and taking advantage of the map.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think that concludes kind of the main content of our session today, but want to save some time for questions. I have a few that have come in so that everyone can continue to learn from all the amazing stuff that you guys have done. I'll start out with one, and then I'm actually just going to launch another poll in case you would like to learn more about partnering with us. You can just respond there, no pressure at all. But one question that came up is this seems like a super cross-functional, cross-departmental initiative. So can you talk about how you involved everyone to secure budget for getting this initiative across the line?
Yeah, so we actually, as I mentioned kind of early on, this was initially going to be budget tied with marketing, police, accessibility, and IT. They were all involved in the initial conversations. And it was kind of just looking to see where the budget lived at that point. We're set up maybe differently a little bit on the budget, where some of these things are a little bit more fluid in some areas, and some areas it's very strict. We lucked into the fact that, as I said, we got her funding to kind of help with the initial implementation. And so that really helped fund that. But right now, the bulk of the budget is coming out of IT because this is an IT service. But as we've had conversations, facility was very interested in this. And so facilities was very much like, take it out of my budget if you need to do it. IT said this is something that we want to help fund because it's a software. So that's where the money's coming from at the moment. But I think trying to get the buy-in from those areas, facility, accessibility, IT, police, marketing, all the people that you would think would be regular players in a map like this, get their buy-in, and then no matter where the money's coming from, everybody can support it. And then if you're like us, the board's going to have to sign off on it one way or the other. So the more support you can show, the easier it is to get that board buy-in.
Awesome. Another question that came up. So how I was wondering if you could share kind of what is your standard process for having different departments submit updates to the map? Is it on a quarterly basis? Is it on, just like what is the approval process, all that stuff?
And you want to tackle that one?
So sure, I mostly just get we use a platform called WorkZone, so we just get tasks from that directly from the partner. It's approved, I think, through Jonathan and maybe one or two other people. We try to get as much information upfront as possible. I think that's through the form. So yeah, just get that every day and then make updates. If I have any questions, I usually, just ask them, and they're more than accommodating most of the time. And mostly, I think we're specific about marking where it is, like where on this map. And if they don't have, like, if they can't find a screenshot or something, I usually either walk them through it or I provide it for them. So I mark exactly where it is. So it's pretty simple, pretty direct, straightforward. Comes to me, I make the updates. I get feedback if they want any edits, and then just deliver the project to them.
Yeah, and I think maybe just to add to that too, so that's the day-to-day updates. We do want to try and build take those groups that I mentioned earlier that are involved in the map, as well as kind of our info central team, which helps with room reservations and such. Get them all in a regular meeting so that we know, hey, these are things that have changed. More specifically, it's facilities. And facilities has been pretty good at saying, hey, this is something that's changed. Now that they know we have this map, now that they know that it's public and being used, they're a lot more forthcoming, I think, in a lot of ways, just because they're more aware of what's out there. So we want to get that group to say, hey, we need to work together on this. So, police, if you're needing to block off one of the roads for an event, then let's put that on the map. Facilities, if you're going to be doing construction in this area, let's put that on the map. If you're moving a wall, let's put it on the map. So kind of have those regular meetings just to have the discussion of here's what's coming up, here's what we might need to be aware of, and here's what we might need to change. But yeah, Anna's been doing a great job of the day-to-day updates that come in from most of the people who are actually, boots on the ground. They're doing the work, they see the change, and so they submit it at that point.
Awesome. Thank you. And then I think we have time for one more question. So I know that we talked a lot about the physical accessibility features of the map, being able to highlight accessible only pathways and the ADA compliant locations. But can you talk a little bit about the digital accessibility side of the map and why that was important in terms of vetting technology that you were going to bring onto your campus?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's one of the things that was beneficial for us, knowing that the maps are keyboard accessible, that people can go in, and even though they may have a physical limitation themselves, they can still utilize the maps. The text-only version of the map was a big highlight for us, that people could see that or listen to it, depending on what technology they're using. So it was very important for us to make sure that even though this is a great CMS, we're not just putting static images out on the website. They're accessible images, they're images that people can use no matter what their limitations are. So that was a very big thing for us because, again, what we had in the past, we could have put everything in Illustrator, come up with our visual language and said, okay, it all looks the same, it's all edited the same by the same group, whatever else, but then we're just putting out static images. That doesn't help a lot of people. But having it be dynamic, having the technology behind it be accessible was a huge win for us, because we wanted to make sure that it's not just the website that's accessible, but it's also all of our other digital platforms as well, and make sure that they have that experience. So as Anna mentioned, if I have a visual impairment, I want to be able to know that I can still get around Dallas College, not just having to read an alt text on a static image. I can actually have the map tell me where to go, even with my limitations.
Awesome. Thank you. And then one question, actually, one more question just came in. Andy wants to know, do you give any other groups access to build out their own categories? For example, alumni services access to plot out their homecoming or other events?
Yeah, we have that available. We are not at the moment currently using it outside of one group. We've only had one group that's expressed interest in that, and that's actually our emergency services. So they maintain the AEDs across campus, the tornado shelters, that type of information, anything for emergency use. So they maintain that. We have the option for other groups to do it, but at the moment, no one has expressed a lot of interest in doing that. So we kind of take that self-service model, looking at where are a lot of the updates coming from. And if we start seeing, and this is just across all of our platforms, if we start seeing that there are a lot of updates coming, like calendar updates coming from our counseling services, well, they now have complete control to update their calendar as needed on our website. So we would do the same thing with this mapping tool. Is if we start seeing a whole bunch of updates coming in regularly from a particular area, then we would for sure set them up and train them on the platform. So it's doable. We're just not doing it at the moment based on the need.
Awesome. All right, I don't think we have any other questions, but this is our contact information. Definitely feel free to reach out to any one of us in case any other questions come up. And thank you to Jonathan and Anna for being here, and hope everyone has an amazing rest of your day.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.